Whoa. Hello, everybody.
Whoa, dude.
Whoa. This is On the Stick, I guess, kind of After Dark. We didn't do an official After Dark last night, so
I mean, let me just check behind my curtains here. Yeah, it's dark.
it's dark. There's a full moon out tonight, too.
Ooh.
Spooky. So, I can't see it here in Nashville, though, because it is storming. So, which also, if I suddenly, drop off, it's probably because my power or my internet went out, so...
Well,
That's why.
hopefully that won't be the case.
Yeah, hope not.
What you got for us tonight, Joe?
Well, if you are into the retro gaming scene and all the great stuff that's been coming around lately, you've probably seen that Konami released an Arcade Classics collection. Right now it looks weird because the actual games will be centered in the stream. So right now it looks like off-center and weird, but it'll make sense in a second. So this is a collection of 8 arcade games. Gradius, aka Nemesis, which is weird because it was called Nemesis in Europe, but I don't think in America, so I don't know why that's like whatever. Life Force, Typhoon, which was known as Ajax in Japan, I believe. Haunted Castle, which is the bad Konami arcade version of Castlevania. Vulcan Venture, which is Gradius 2. Thunder Cross, which is a shoot 'em up. Most of these are shoot 'em ups. Scramble, which is sort of the precursor to Gradius, and Twinbee, which is
Which is Twinbee.
which is Twinbee, right? AKA Rainbow Bell, but known here as Twinbee. I'm not really sure what they're doing with the naming scheme here. Also, if I'm on a Dutch angle, I am at a Dutch angle. The reason why is because my webcam is mounted on my mic stand, which is sloped so that the mic is close enough for me to talk into it. So, if that weirds you out, I'm sorry.
I'll manage.
All right, good deal. So, I haven't played any of these, as this title of the stream tells you. Joe's never played this collection of games. But I did boot it up just to check a couple of things. And I will tell you that right off, there were a couple things that disappointed me. And sort of the biggest thing was... and we're also I'm gonna plug in my PS4 and check some of the PS4 versions of these same games from Hamster as well, because you see in the corner there's a little powered by Arcade Archives. These are ostensibly the Arcade Archives versions of these games, but we'll start with Gradius just so I can talk while I'm playing. So ostensibly these would be the Arcade Archives versions of these games, but upon further inspection, they really aren't. So there's a options menu you can pull up, your save load, of course. Game settings. You have got dip switches for lives here in Gradius, and there's a difficulty dip. And that's and that's it as far as that goes. And then for display options, you can do, they say blurring, it's actually scan lines, so you can do mild scan lines, strong scan lines. I hate fake scan lines. I think they look like trash. And display ratio, I think that looks terrible. People should play games how they want to play games and how it makes them feel good, but stretching a game that was in 4:3 to 16:9 just makes my butthole pucker. And then
you have a fear of black bars.
Well, then there's frames. So you can't see them because I cropped them out of the stream, but there are 2 different frame options. Neither of them are that impressive, honestly. And then you can have the controls show at the bottom if you want to. If you never played Gradius before, do that. I hate that. I wish that the Nintendo Switch Online NES games would let you turn this off. Fortunately, these do let you turn this off, but and that's it. You can change the controls if you want to.
How many buttons are we talking about here? Like
Shoot,
a 2-button game?
missile, power up. 3.
Yeah, 3. Oh, okay. You have to press the
3.
missiles separately?
Yeah, so a lot of the console versions assign it to the same button, but yes, technically they're 2 separate buttons.
Oh,
and I think I can...
kind of annoying.
Yeah, I believe I can... Oh, and insert coin. There's an insert coin button. Because obvious reasons. I wonder if I can... Oops. Yeah, so I can do a shoot plus missile if I am so inclined, which, as it turns out, I am, and I'm going to make it...
Rhino Nar says that the Simpsons arcade game should be on this pack. This is
Well,
earlier stuff, isn't it?
I think some of these games are maybe contemporaneous or slightly later. I'm not sure. Actually, maybe a lot of it shows the date, so I'll go back and look through them. But
I bet if they ever release that game, it's going to be a standalone product because
well,
the licensing probably would make it expensive.
They did at one point.
Did they?
It was on Xbox Live Arcade. Yeah. Yep.
The Simpsons game was?
Sure was. The X-Men and Simpsons both were. Okay.
I have the X-Men because that game is cool.
Yeah. So I've got my controls set. I've got my shot and missile set to one button. I didn't turn it to auto fire, but I might later, depending on how tired my hand gets.
Oh, it's nice that you can do that. Mr. Monster says this should be cool to watch, and Nico Blanchard says he'd like to review of Rampage.
Oh, well, thank you, Nico.
The movie or the...
No, last year when the movie came out, I did an episode of Same Name, Different Game about the game. So, yeah, so the things that are not included here, so I guess first things first, the good is that this is a $20 package. And if you buy these games individually on Arcade Archives, you know, as separate downloads, you're looking at $8 a piece. So for 8 games, it would be $64 if you purchase them all separately, or $20 as one package. So from that perspective, I sort of get, you know, you're not getting the full Arcade Archives experience, but the thing that's kind of frustrating here is that you get whichever region. So if I had logged into my Japanese eShop account and bought the Japanese version of this, these would all be the Japanese ROMs, which in the case of something like Haunted Castle makes the game like way easier, because they amped the difficulty to an unreasonable degree for
something Konami would do.
For the
I just want you to know, Joe, we're getting a lot of stick noise through your microphone.
Yeah, that's unavoidable.
What are you playing with?
I have this is a Mayflash F300, but I replaced the joystick with a Sanwa joystick and the buttons with Sumitsu buttons. So, I guess I'll continue. Yeah, and if there's too much stick noise, I may just, like I said, I was considering turning on the auto fire, and I may just do that too.
Yeah, that would probably make a big difference.
I mean, is it drowning out me talking, or is it just...
No, it's just very present.
Very present, okay, well.
All on the stick, not listen to the stick.
Right. You know, so as far as the price stuff goes, to a certain extent I get it, but there's material differences in some of these games from region to region, and when you buy them separately, like, you get
go
those.
Back and forth, kinda at will.
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm gonna boot up some of my PS4 Arcade Archives games of these same titles, and we'll take a look. But yeah, I mean, the long and short of it is that yeah, you can switch. Like, the big one's going to be Life Force, which we'll get to. I'll play some Life Force, and then eventually, like I said, I'll switch over to the solo Arcade Archives release of Life Force, and we can sort of take a look at what some of the differences are there. The other thing that I find really strange is, I showed you the display options. You may have noticed there is not a display option in there for rotating the screen.
No tate.
There is no tate. No tate. And this is on a system that has the flip grip as a lovely accessory, which I have. And, you know, there's definitely a couple of tate games on this collection, so I don't really, you know, I don't know why, again, with all the other, you know, with all the standalone releases, having the option to flip the display whichever way you like, I do not understand why you can't do that here. And I say that as someone who, yeah, and I both have a flip grip and a tiltable monitor. So, you know, that's the thing that I really appreciate. And
Guard Freak says hello from a movie theater and about to watch Rift Tracks live Octoman.
oh,
I'm not
nice.
familiar with Octoman.
I'm aware that it is like a battle movie that is the kind of thing you would see on Rift Tracks or Mystery Science Theater, but I have not seen it myself.
Rhino Nar wants to know if the Konami arcade games on GBA are any good.
Yeah, actually, those are like remakes. Like the version of Russian Attack on there is like some people consider that to be the best version of Russian Attack.
Oh.
So yeah, that's it's like 5 or 6 games in one package. That's a pretty good little collection, yeah. I'm not super well outfitted to deal with the big core right now. But
Shoot it. Shoot it right in its stupid core.
yeah, I was trying to save those power-ups so I could get some options in a shield maybe, but the laser is just a much better choice for dealing with this guy.
What options? You have multiples.
Yeah, that's right. Destroy them all. Whew. Yeah, so I don't know.
Do you already own on PS4?
4? 3? At least
Like
3.
half of them?
Yeah, half of them pretty much. But now I have them portably, right? Which is like, that's a pretty cool thing. Having them handheld. Although I have like, I don't even honestly want to think about how many versions of Gradius I own. Well, let's see here.
Pretty sure we've been through this, but I've never been a big fan of the Gradius series because I find it too punishing whenever you lose a life.
Yeah, that's.
Except for Parodius, which I guess is much easier.
Yeah, Proteus is a lot more player friendly than the mainline Gradius series. Alright, I'm going to continue one more time and then I'm going to move on to a different game because I honestly don't think like OG Gradius is honestly like all that good. I mean, it's not bad. I shouldn't say, like, it's not that it's not good, it's just that it's surpassed in pretty much every way by all of its sequels. And also, like, now that I've died in this particular spot, like, this is not a good position to be in.
Ryan, are you trolling me here?
What?
Boy wants to know if the Adventures of Bayou Billy on NES is good.
No.
But, dude.
The Famicom version is okay, because it's way less punishing. Not everything takes a million hits to kill, but...
I think the soundtrack might be alright.
Yeah, soundtrack's good. I'll vouch for that. Ugh, this is the... If you die on the Moai stage, you're kind of stuck. Because they're like you said, it's really punishing to die. But that's okay. We're gonna kick back to...
You are welcome to die, Joe.
That's a Konami reference that Mike just made. I'm gonna save Life Force. Let's save Life Force. Let's play a game I haven't played. Let's play Thundercross. I'm not familiar with this one off the top of my head.
Thundercross. Any of these games have cool voices saying their title when you boot them up?
I don't think so. Some of them have cool voices, but I don't think there are any when they boot up. So again, we've got dips, lives, difficulty. That's it. Same sort of display options. The 2 frames are universal throughout all of the games included, so that's kind of a bummer. Yeah, like the Kunio World Classics collection has like 2 or 3 different borders for each individual game included, which is pretty cool. But controls, let's see.
Eric Gerbeck says that Life Force is the shit, which I'm assuming you would agree with.
I agree. Okay, shoot and super weapon, and those appear to be my only controls here, so We will insert some fake money. Give this one a shot.
I've always enjoyed inserting fake quarters. Especially
Yeah,
when you just hammer that button and you get the sound over and over again.
Uh-huh.
One of the simple pleasures. So this is the first of the 3 Konami retro collections to come out, right?
Yes.
One of the release dates for the Castlevania and Contra collections.
Castlevania is coming on May 18th, so a month from today.
Okay.
Right? Or a month from yesterday or whatever. A month from today. And
Okay.
then they haven't said for sure what the date is on Contra. But I think
So
I think it's June. I think it's like one a month.
Right. The real interesting thing for me is that they finally opened the floodgates on those kind of lost Genesis games,
Yeah.
Bloodlines and Hardcore. And I'm very excited that they're doing that, but I don't think I'm going to buy these particular compilations to get them. I'm
You're
kinda
gonna
eyeing
buy a
that,
Genesis Mini?
Yeah, that Genesis Mini, as long as it's, well made, has good emulation, but it's being made by
M2.
M2, so the emulation should be pretty spot on, one would hope.
Yeah, I mean, it should be pretty damn flawless, honestly. M2's done a ton of stuff for Sega. They're doing the current Sega Ages Switch line. They did the Sega Ages 5200, or not all of it, but a good portion of the Sega Ages 5200 line for the PS2, which was really sort of set the bar at a new level and was kind of an early version of what Digital Eclipse has been trying to do, with their releases.
Back at a time when people weren't being that careful with retro releases, like if you got them at all, you were kind of considered yourself lucky.
Right. And none of those were released in the United States, of course. Except, well, there was a compilation of the early ones, which were all just the ones that M2 did not work on. That were all just like mostly really bad 3D remakes of classic Genesis games, including a really, really awful version of Golden Axe, which is already like not that good to begin with, if I'm being honest. That's the super weapon, apparently. But yeah, so I mean, I pre-ordered the Genesis Mini because I want to support that sort of thing. It will have all the region versions of all the games, according to Sega
That's
and
super
M2.
cool, especially for hardcore.
Yeah, it really is. It's really nice for hardcore. It's also like just kind of nice to be able to look at the different versions of Bloodlines, just because there's some changes. The title is different in some of the regions, and like the European version, this title screen doesn't have the blood dripping, and there's stuff like that, which is kind of fun. But yeah, I mean, for hardcore especially, it's just like
Having that life bar.
yeah, having the 3-hit life bar and being able to use the Konami code to get, I think, 15 lives, if I remember correctly, which is taken out of the American version. So yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
I'm excited for that little Genesis. I don't know. There's only so many Genesis games that I'm really into, but a couple.
But they're putting them all. They're putting them all on this thing for you, Mike. So the thing that I think is just the coolest about this is that they've got third parties signed on, so it's not the same collection of the same 30 or 40 Genesis games we've seen re-released
Yeah,
now.
the same ones that I bought on my Xbox 360.
Right, you bought on your you bought a lot of them on
And
your
on the- and on
PS2,
Steam.
and then on your PS3, and then maybe now on your PS4, and it's like the crossover is just kind of ridiculous in terms of what is on all of those different collections, to the point where it's just like, well, what, oof.
We've seen it, folks. We've seen it.
We've seen it, and the idea that they're reaching out to third parties, which of course is now the order of the day, right? Like the Super NES and NES and PlayStation minis, all of the minis except for the Neo
You
Geo.
don't speak those words in this house, Joe.
PlayStation Classic. We don't speak those words. Yeah, that was a debacle, huh? Did you end up buying one of those? I feel like you were thinking about getting one to hack it because it's really easy to hack.
If the performance had been okay, I might have gone for it once it was down to like $40. But I don't want to pay that kind of money just to be disappointed. I mean, we mentioned this last night, but I have a Vita TV and I have a whole shitload of PS1 classics So I have good access to most of those games that I care about already. So I'm not going to buy a cute little PlayStation toy to play them in like a crappier version.
Right, right. Well, I mean, apparently Auto Bleem, fixes a lot of that stuff, and you can load in, the actual NTSC ROMs
I think the performance
or
is so bad.
ISOs.
I think that lets you switch from the NTSC to PAL versions of games, which is nice. But I don't think they perform that well.
Yeah.
I don't think it speeds up the frame rate. I mean, it speeds them up because you're not playing the PAL version.
Well, I would
anymore,
say you're playing 60 frames instead of 50 frames per second. So, or
but
you're
it's still not great.
Yeah, I don't know. That was it. That felt like a cash in, right? Like that felt like Sony was like, oh, this is a popular thing that people are doing now. Let's do this too.
Oh, it's like this will be
and
easy.
just mail it in. Apparently, like, oof. I was just thinking this game is kind of easy, and now like I got to a point where like I'm just getting my ass kicked.
A lot of arcade games have really easy first stages to kind of lull you into that. Get you feeling invested, right?
Right.
Simon Meja says May 16th for the Castlevania collection. Ricky Henry says he has that same towel as you. And Camaristico says, hey guys. Hey Camaristico.
I assume he means the Pac-Man towel that is behind me. I got that at a garage sale for like $1. But I also have
that's a cool towel, but I don't know how I feel about buying garage sale towels.
Well, I washed it, and I don't use it to like dry myself off after a shower. But I also have this towel, which I got in a claw machine in Japan 15 years ago. And there was I was telling Eric this when he was here. There's a whole series of these, and I honestly wish I'd tried to get more of them because.
I am here.
Hey, Eric's here.
Ooh, speak of the devil.
Well, I meant when you were here in my home, but whichever. But I wish I'd tried to get all of those. Yeah, and I have a Brewer's Rally towel on the other arm of this chair, but I don't think any of those are in frame. What was I doing? I was playing. No, I don't want to quit yet. No, I don't want to quit. Yes, I want to go back. Okay, there we go.
How you doing, Eric?
I'm pretty tired. How are you doing, Mike?
I'm all right.
How's your new computer case holding up?
I don't know. It's being weird sometimes.
That's annoying.
I don't know. Something's weird. I was getting some weird graphical artifacts, and my monitor was blinking a little while ago. But that seems to have stopped now. I don't know.
Is there a problem with your power supply hookup?
Possibly. Maybe something's wrong with my graphics card, or maybe the display port was loose, or I don't know.
Darius King says Light Force was the first NES game I ever played as a kid. That's not too bad. You could do worse. I think my first NES game I ever played was 3D World Runner.
Boy, I don't even know that I could tell you what the first NES game I ever played was.
Probably Mario.
It was yeah. I mean, I played it at a neighbor's house.
I don't think I played a Nintendo until I got a Nintendo for Christmas in 86 or 87 or whatever.
Yeah, 87. My birthday, 87 was when I got mine. But I definitely had played it. The kid across the street had one, but I really could not remember, could not tell you what the first game I played on it was. I'm gonna switch games after I hit another continue point here. We'll try something else.
I can tell you my first Atari game was Vanguard.
That's a good game.
That is a good game.
That's like one of the best Atari games.
And then Kaboom and Circus Atari, and did a bunch of paddle games after that. Me and my uncle.
Let's check out the bonus book. Let's see what's in the bonus book.
I like Vanguard. I like Solaris, but that was a pretty late Atari 2600 game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever played that one.
It was hot, as the ad said.
Huh. I don't remember
Vanguard
if it was
like a real video game.
Yeah, Vanguard was quality stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is like a timeline of Konami's arcade history, which is cool. So it looks like the last game in this collection was released in 1988. So getting back to what we were saying earlier, Mike.
I guess Simpsons Arcade.
Simpsons was Simpsons Arcade was like 90, I want to say.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I don't. As far as I can tell, Ninja doesn't play any of these games, so they're probably not relevant.
Yeah, that's probably true. Chapter 1. Oh, so this is we're not just messing around here. Like this is a book. There's some design documents in here and interviews. This is all pretty cool. I'll probably check this stuff out at my leisure, probably in handheld mode, so I can read it a little bit easier. Because I'm not even that far from the TV, but like I would have to zoom in and whatever. So anyway, that's pretty cool. Let's play some more games.
What have you played so far?
Just Gradius and Thundercross so far.
And Life Force.
I haven't played Life Force yet. I played.
Oh, wasn't Life Force?
No, I played Gradius and then Thundercross.
Watching the chat, but I haven't been looking too carefully at the gameplay.
Yeah. Is there something you would like me to play, Eric?
I don't actually know what's on this thing.
Scramble, Twinbee, Gradius, Life Force, Typhoon, Haunted Castle, Vulcan Venture, which is Gradius 2. Nope, just Shockmaster.
Okay.
Mike, you said Twinbee?
Twinbee. I played a little bit of Twinbee the other day. Where did I get that? I don't remember where, like, in what situation I found myself playing Twinbee, but I played a little bit.
So with the Tate games, you can stretch them to 4:3 and 16:9, but again, you can't actually turn them. So there you can see a little bit of the frame now because I'm. So that's frame 1 and that's frame 2, and those are the only two options you have for frames, unless you unlock more by doing, certain things or something. And they're fine.
Half-assed a thing.
It is hard to believe.
I know. I'm shocked.
I mean, the fact that they put anything out at all is probably a miracle.
I mean, that's sort of the most impressive thing, right? Is that like we actually got something.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. They've been farting out a lot of classic.
Yeah, I mean, it has
Have
been a
they?
little half-assed, but like there was the Rondo of Blood, Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
And then there's another one coming soon.
Or there's two coming soon, but I don't know that I'd say they've been doing a lot lately. I mean, they did that one last October.
It'll be 4 in a year, basically, by the time they're finished. So.
Well, I guess. I've never been very good at Twinbee because I'm not super great at the bell juggling mechanic.
Older
That's
Dad
right.
64 wants to know, what do you think are the 2 best games on this collection?
It's just 8 games?
Just 8 games. Probably Life Force and Gradius 2.
Guy Reynolds says, Haunted Castle is that Castlevania game with the weird sprite, isn't it?
I would think that's an accurate-ish. I did a stream in October.
How does that sound?
Which sound? Eric eating Cheez-Its?
It's crazy because if you go to Konami's website for this page, in the background they show like Castlevania 3 and Castlevania and the Game Boy Castlevania game and Contra and Super C and Contra 3.
Oh, because those are
Contra game.
Right. Those are part of the same series, I guess, as this collection. They're all part of the Konami 50th anniversary, thing. So
what if, instead of putting out a disc or a thing for your Switch, what if they put out a giant Konami logo
with two joysticks on it?
I love that thing so much.
It's the thing is. I mean, it's really just one of those things
Konami
where
logo would be harder to turn into an arcade stick than the Capcom logo. Although the modern one would be pretty good.
Yeah, but the modern Konami logo is just the word Konami, like.
It's got like a thing on it that's square with a round edge.
Let's rate video game companies by how well their logos would translate into 2-player fight sticks.
I feel like Nintendo's would be really good. Theirs is just a...
It's nice and round.
It's big round oval.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could get into that. Eric Gerbeck says, too bad licensing ruins everything. They could have had the Konami Aliens arcade on here. That game is never talked about, but it was great. Is it AVP that's going to be on that?
On that hideous Capcom abomination. Yes, it is. Yeah, the Konami Aliens game is pretty good. Not exactly a faithful adaptation of the film, but
if there's one thing about video games based on movies, I know it's that you should rate them on
how accurate of an adaptation they are. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, it's Alex.
What's up?
Not much.
Go to
What's
the
up?
Konami website. Konami, fresh, new fun, and excitement, comma, always.
Yeah.
That sounds potentially accurate, sometimes accurate, occasionally accurate.
Consumer alert on spoof website, March 2nd, 2015. What the fuck?
What, Konami's website is a spoof?
No, it says spoof websites that claim Konami has an office in India using Konami logos and properties without our permission have recently come to our attention.
Damn.
Konami does not have any relationship with such spoof websites at all and has not given any permission to use Konami logos or any other property Konami owns to the operator of such spoof websites.
Oh, damn.
I'll say, throwing down the gauntlet, Konami.
Seafoam Gaming went to an arcade and played track and field in person today. I don't know what the arcade version of track and field is like.
It's
just
a
two big old buttons.
It's
you
yeah,
wang on?
yeah. It's a tabletop. It's a cocktail table, or at least the last one that I played was a cocktail table. Maybe there's a stand-up version, but yeah, and it's just two buttons that you wail on one to run, and then you hit the other one to jump. That's
I
And then
do. I
they
said
bought those-
wang on, not whale
Yeah.
on.
They have bought those all up
I-
and turned them into dive kick machines.
I do not wang on any video games, Mike. I don't know what's acceptable in Montreal
Use, like,
when
a
you go to an
spoon or a
arcade, but
comb or something, right? And then you can like wobble it and go. Real
my
fast.
my cousins used to use a highlighter,
Okay.
but yeah, I remember
I've
that.
seen people like drag a pen back and forth over the buttons.
Right, yep. Same idea. Yikes, this game gets hard on stage 3, apparently.
Eric Gerbeck misses the days when Japanese companies would adapt movies into games and just do whatever, like Darth Vader turning into a scorpion.
And a fish. He turns into a bunch of things in that game. That game doesn't get enough... People don't give his other his other weird transformations enough cred. They all just talk about the scorpion.
That was first stage, right?
Yeah, first stage he turns into a scorpion.
Hey, so a patient with sinus bradycardia and a heart rate of 42 beats a minute has diaphoresis and a blood pressure of 80 over 60. What is the initial dose of atropine? Is it 0.1 milligrams, 0.5 milligrams, 1 milligram, or 3?
I was thinking like 200.
200? Okay, let me
Yeah, I mean,
type
well,
that in.
an extra strength Tylenol is 500 milligrams, and it sounds like he's in rough shape, so you should probably.
Yeah.
That's a real low heart
Yeah.
rate. I mean, I think,
Yeah.
jumpstart that baby.
Okay, I'm gonna type in 200.
Alex, you're a
you're right.
nurse. Aren't
You're
you
right.
supposed to know this?
No, yeah, I have to do like a my like semi-annual like renewal thing tomorrow for this
Isn't it-
kind of shit.
Isn't asking
No,
us
no,
cheating?
So I'm a healthcare professional.
That's
Yeah,
true,
no,
you
I
are.
knew the answer. It's 0.5 if you were curious. However,
I
I'm just
I
being
don't think
curious.
I
Someone
was.
isn't getting recertified.
Yeah, you.
So
I
we're
have to
just
stop nursing.
because we're gonna look at it on the. I'm gonna look at it on the PS4 as well. So let's take a look at Haunted Castle real quick, even though it's actually not a very good game. So game settings, just again for comparison's sake. Enemy strength low, normal high, really high. Normal is not normal in this game. If you touch a skeleton while it's on normal, it takes more than half your health.
Dang.
So and then difficulty easy, normal, hard, very hard. We'll leave it on normal.
You're not
But we're gonna
touching the
knock
skeleton.
we're gonna knock the enemy strength down to low because that is the
What
really.
the fuck is Vulcan Venture? Sorry, I just jumped over to the thing and I was like,
Vulcan Venture is Gradius 2.
oh, okay. See, now I know. Now I'm all caught up.
Same stuff here as far as your options. You've got your controls. So we're gonna mess with these controls. Those are okay. Who would want A if you were using a controller that was in your hand and not an arcade stick? Why would you want A to jump and Y to attack and B to use your sub weapon? That's shame on you, Hamster. Shame on you for mapping the controls that way by default. That's terrible. Why would you do that? So we're gonna have to change that. So let's see here. We're gonna do. let's see. We're gonna do.
No.
We're actually gonna keep that as jump, but then we're gonna change that to attack, and then we're actually going to change.
No, that's it.
Yeah,
We're gonna make ZR is gonna be our item because that's how my joystick is mapped out. So
We didn't just live stream you cheating on your thing, did we, Alex?
No, it's not. This doesn't matter. This is just like review.
This isn't an online test, is it?
No. No, this is just review. The class is tomorrow, and it's like,
Okay.
I've already done it like 3.
Because if Mike and I
4
give you
times.
the wrong answers, then it's not cheating anyways, right?
Yeah, but I didn't give him the wrong
That's
answer.
true.
Jack that guy up. Come on.
Yeah, 500. The correct answer is 0.5, but 500 is probably way better because there's more.
because there's more.
All of it.
So
Just
one of my
empty the
favorite
bottle.
things about this game, and that list is very short, is that in Castlevania, Simon Belmont is out to slay Dracula because like that's just what he do. He slay Dracula. That's how we roll. We're Belmonts. In Haunted Castle, his wife is abducted by Dracula on their wedding day, and so then like it's personal this time.
Shroomy wants to know if you played those arcade archive releases. I'm gonna guess yes.
I have played many of them, and strictly speaking, this is technically one of them. So, I mean, the emulation is good. Like, this is accurate emulation. Wow. See, even with the enemy strength reduced, like, just look at how much damage I took and how quickly I died. There. This is.
Yeah, Reynolds wants to know who the bride is. Which Belmont is this?
Elsa
Is it Sypha?
Lanchester.
Didn't one of the
Sypha's
Belmonts
Trevor.
marry Sypha?
Trevor married Sypha.
The one who was alive at the same time as her.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
but that's why I asked was Belmont this one.
This is Simon.
Okay.
This is a port of Castlevania, of like original OG Castlevania.
Man, an overly punishing Castlevania game? Hard to imagine.
This is on a different level. Oh yeah, and then there's this wall that attacks you for some reason.
Wait, you playing Final Fantasy?
Yes, but I can't suplex this wall, so like.
You suplex the
that was-
train, dog. Okay, let's get that shit right.
No, you
Not
suplex
even Final
every.
Fantasy,
No, I know
Joe.
that's Final Fantasy 4, not 6. I know.
See,
And
Funny Gaming
actually-
says the guidebook confirmed
Let's
her
be
name
fair.
is-
There's probably a wall you can suplex in 6. I don't remember. It's been a while.
I was gonna say, Alex, you suplex everything. As soon as you get the suplex ability, you fucking suplex every goddamn thing.
I remember when I first played that game, I played it on an emulator, and so like using the arrow keys to do all the like his special moves was like hard, or if not impossible. So then
It's
I played it
actually
when
easier than you think it is.
well, it felt hard to me, Mike.
No, but you don't have to do the diagonals the way they're written.
Yeah. What was it? So, but then when I played it on the GBA version, like it was amazing. I was like, holy shit! Like Sabin's actually like legit as fuck.
He's the best character in the game.
Excuse me, I don't think that's true, but
I mean, from a numbers standpoint,
no, dude, Edgar, fucking, what is it? Offering and Genji Glove dual Atma weapons, like that's it.
Okay, how many characters can suplex a train?
Edgar can do it if he wanted to, but he just doesn't want to.
No,
So
no, bullshit.
you gotta leave something for
Saban is the only one who can
He doesn't-
suplex a
he
train.
doesn't- he doesn't even
Ergo.
get to race the train.
I'll go back if his brother's got
exactly,
that.
he was never given the opportunity. So like, this is stupid.
It is stupid. You're stupid. Saban's the best character because he can suplex a train. Although,
200.
the Yeti is pretty fucking dope too.
Now, Mog is the best character.
Mog.
Hug is my favorite character.
Oh, somebody found it.
Yep, somebody found a text message.
I got it right when I said Mog.
That's right. Eric discovered the correct answer was Mog. Honestly, that cast is generally pretty good. I do like the what's the name of the Yeti? I can't remember his name now. Umaro. That's right. Yeah.
He's legit, dude.
He's legit. Okay, so we're going to play some Life Force, and then we're going to switch over to the PS4 and take a look at what some of the individual versions of these games look like. So Life Force, game settings, lives, difficulty. Wow, that's new. Display settings are exactly the same. Original are 16 by 9. Turn the frame on, turn the controls off, because like I don't need the controls for Life Force at the bottom of the screen the whole time. Let's see here. We will do shoot plus missile,
bowl, man.
and I'll turn the rapid fire on so that I'm not making a
Passive aggressive over here.
And there's no power-up button, you might notice in this, because this version of Life Force doesn't use power-up capsules. You just pick stuff up. So that's what's going on here. So let's check out.
Reynolds is Mike Hager to suplex the train.
He hasn't, so.
Also, he doesn't suplex the car in the bonus stage, right? So.
Right.
I'm not sure he could. I'm gonna say it.
You don't believe in the power of Mayor Hager?
More into pile driving things.
That's true. He is a lot more into pile driving things than suplexing them. But I mean, in Saturday Night Slime Masters, he definitely can, suplex things. So, Mike, this one has a lot of those speech samples you were excited about.
Does it say option?
It says that. It says destroy them all. It says a bunch of stuff. And it drops options like they were candy. Which is sort of ridiculous, honestly. Like,
this
idea of,
was this one of the ones that was on that PSP collection?
Which PSP collection?
There was a Japanese-only PSP collection that had a bunch of Konami shooters, and it had, like, Zezix and stuff.
Right, so that was Salamander Portable. Yeah, Salamander Portable. And so, yeah, Salamander is included on Salamander Portable, believe it or not.
There you go. So I have played this game, because I had that briefly.
Yeah, that's a good collection. That's got the enhanced, that's got the, like, Nemesis 98, like, enhanced version or whatever I think it is. That's a good collection. Unfortunate that we
gave it to someone else,
here.
but it was used, so I allowed myself to play with it for a bit before I gave it away.
So, this game has a weird history that we'll get into when I play the standalone version a little bit more, because it's a little bit easier to explain in the context of that version. But, suffice it to say that there were a lot of changes between the various region versions of this game. I remember when I was a kid, like, we all thought it was Gradius 2, because, that version uses the Gradius power-up system, the Vic Vipers, the Player 1 ship. It was just like, yeah, this is Gradius 2, obviously. Little did we know. There is an actual Gradius 2, but it's not this game. Well, shit. Oh, fuck. That was not good. Golem has longer arms in this version than in the NES version.
This game is gross.
I mean, kinda.
Thanks.
Is this your first is this your first exposure to Life Force, Alex?
Yeah, I don't really play shmups.
Don't use that. We don't use that word in this house.
Yeah.
What do you call this? Shooter?
It's a shoot 'em up or shooter, yeah. Shooter or shoot 'em up.
Shoot 'em up is a shmup. Like, what's the difference?
Well, one of those things like sounds like words, and the other one sounds like you're like drooling on yourself. So.
I've never understood the shmup hate, Alex. Don't feel bad.
I don't feel bad.
You should feel bad.
And I'm not gonna stop, so it's fine.
You don't even play them.
Although I guess, everybody has played them. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't.
Well, everybody
play them
has played them.
Yeah. Although I guess now I am thinking about it, and the equivalent of, because I call them beat 'em ups, and I guess the equivalent of calling a yeah, exactly. I'm like, I guess I
Right.
see your point.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
No.
I kind of like it too, but I don't call them that.
We're not calling them ups. That's not a thing. Oh wow, I forgot that in this version you also can't continue. So I'm only gonna do this. We're only gonna do this a couple of times because I'm not trying to play the whole game from the beginning every time.
That's insane. It's an arcade game that you have to play like the entire game at one point.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Some of these games were really stingy about letting you continue, which you would think you'd get more people I would think would just give up and be like, I'm not putting any more quarters in this thing.
Yeah, fuck this.
Right,
Yeah.
rather than, but apparently Konami thought like, nope, no, that's the way we'll do it. Because Gradius 3 in the arcade also does not allow you to continue.
Well, Konami, as you know, has made a lot of good decisions and is still very profitable in the video game industry even today.
Well, I mean, they used to make good decisions.
That's, once upon a time. Not anymore, baby.
Eric Gerbeck says, if you think Life Force is gross, you should never play Abadox on NES.
That's true.
That's what I was gonna ask. Which one was the one that marketed itself in comic books as like, this game's super gross, and you like fight a brain or farts or whatever.
Yes, you
'Cause
fight.
I remember seeing a ton of ads.
I believe that in the 90s that was every game.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
all
but
the
I
games.
mean, there was one
Booger
that was
Man.
particularly like that, and it was in like all the comic
It was
books.
Abadox. It was Abadox.
Yeah, I know it absolutely. Now that you say the name, I'm like, oh yeah. I think we've had this discussion once before, but it was
Probably.
like 7 years ago.
The Deadly Inner War. I referred to that game in a video that I made once as, what if David Cronenberg made an NES game?
Yeah, that makes sense.
The answer is, it would be Abadox. Without question, it would be Abadox. Alright, so let's not get hit by golems, like, extend the arm, like, immediately.
Let's see what else. Sky Reynolds says that Mupp sounds like if the Muppets were to beat 'em up, which that is a game I would play.
I would play the fuck out of that game. Oh my god.
I mean, it would have to be better than Chaos at the Carnival.
I mean, that's a pretty good name. Like,
It's a good name, but it's not a good game.
I feel like that's the name of the Muppet Beat 'em Up. Like,
Well, that's the name of the Muppet. It's the name of the Muppet NES game, and it's real
right,
bad.
and it's a beat 'em up and
It's
they're
not,
at the
though.
carnival, and fucking the Splatterpunks are like up to no good. Kermit and Fozzie gotta like
Fozzie's the tank. He pile drives everybody.
right, and then okay,
Kermit's
here's
the balanced
conversation.
one.
Fuck this Konami shit. Nobody gives a fuck. So here's the conversation we should have. What are the characters and roles in the 4-player NES beat 'em up?
Starring the Muppets.
Starring the Muppets, yeah.
Right. So
Sorry.
Kermit is the Cody,
Kermit's
like the balanced
obviously-
one.
Yeah, he's the all-rounder, like main character.
The Axel,
like,
the Cody, yeah.
Yeah,
Fozzie's the tank. He doles out pile drivers.
Okay, so but we gotta do who's gonna be the babe. I mean, I think the only option
I mean,
is
it's
Miss
got to be Piggy,
One of
right?
Gonzo's
Right.
chicken.
Or Camilla the chicken. Yeah, it could be Camilla the chicken.
But I was gonna say, but like usually the girl character is always like the speedy one. So would that just be like?
But
is
not
that still Miss
always.
Piggy?
Like the Wild Guns remake / sort of half sequel.
Right.
The girl was the tank in that. So I don't know.
All right, I guess we just.
Yeah, but those people went to jail, so...
You know what? Actually, we should break.
No, they
tradition
didn't. They're
here.
making a new Ninja Warriors game, which looks like it's
Yeah,
gonna be
from
real
jail.
dope.
I'm gonna say we should break tradition here. We should make Miss Piggy the tank.
Okay,
Be a good
Miss
tank.
Piggy's the tank.
Yeah.
But then Fozzie's got to be like,
Does she have a hook that she can pull guys towards her with, and like some kind of a scatter gun?
I mean, I imagine. I mean, what's Miss Piggy's thing is that she always does like really big slaps on people and they go flying.
yeah, well, they're karate
That's,
chops.
like,
I think
that
they're
would
supposed
work,
to be.
and then
right?
she just needs a grapple move, and that's it. She's big, so she's like the big character. But Fozzie's tall.
That's
Maybe
true.
he could be like the lanky dude who's got a lot of reach, but he doesn't have long arms. Never mind. He's just tall.
I just want Beaker to be in the game.
He can be like the weird ranged character that's very technical and like nobody wants to play them. And you
Right.
gotta like rock paper scissors for who's stuck with him.
But like, if you spend a lot of time learning him,
guy playing him and just like finishing the game. And...
Oh yeah, he never gets hit. He one credits it. Yeah.
Yeah, if you spend the time to learn him, then like all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, no, like.
Beaker I might even say that Beaker's a unlockable character. He's not part of the initial cast.
You have to save. You have to beat up Bunsen and save Beaker like the kangaroo in Streets of Rage 3.
Why doesn't this game exist? This is way better than anything in this entire collection that you are playing.
I don't know about that.
I don't know what's in the collection, so I don't know about that either. However, this game sounds tight, is what I'm saying. We need to make this, or whatever. Somebody does. I don't care.
So that's that's Life Force. That's the.
I'm sorry.
That's the collection. So what I am actually going to go ahead and I'm gonna switch over to my PlayStation 4 now, and we're gonna take a look at some of these individual releases, and we'll actually just for direct comparison's sake, we're gonna start with Life Force. So give me 1 second while I switch my capture card over to my PS4 and switch my arcade stick over to my PS4, and we'll get right back into this thing. Back.
Ninja Warriors, says Eric Gerbeck. I was playing that I was playing that the other night on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. That's always been one of my favorite video game titles too. The Ninja Warriors again. That is
Ninja Warriors again, and the new one is called Ninja Warriors Once Again.
Dan Rub says Pepe would be the Speedy. Is there a Muppet named Pepe?
Yeah, he's a prawn. Pepe the prawn.
No, he's like a spider or crab or something, right?
He's a prawn.
Pepe.
Oh, prawn. Yes.
Muppet. Search.
He's a
Pepe the King Prawn.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I actually never knew what that dude was. I thought it was a weird bug or something, but he is a prawn now that I see that. I feel like Animal's gotta be in there.
Yeah, Animal.
Animal could maybe be like the ultimate attack.
Yeah, Animal's like instead of
Instead of the police car driving up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Instead of the police car, it's fucking Animal just shows up and plays a drum solo and goes apeshit.
It's the Electric Mayhem's bus, and Animal jumps out.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Oh man. Maybe everybody has a different attack, and that's how we get more cameos. Like one of them is it just like cuts away to the balcony and was it Statler, Statler and Waldorf?
Statler and Waldorf,
yeah. Sick burn on the enemies, and then they just
laugh, and then it cuts back to everybody, and they fall down and take like a shit ton of damage.
Okay.
Oh
Sorry,
my God,
you have to give me another second because
I know, dude. I'm telling you, man, this game is fucking really good in our brains.
I just realized I left the HDCP on my PlayStation because I was watching a movie, so I had to switch it over, turn that off, and then switch it back. So give me a second.
Sure.
Because that's really annoying, but... I actually have an HDCP stripper, but it requires a separate power supply, so I only use it for my PS3, which requires you to strip that.
Also, this is a family show.
So don't say stripper. Is that what you're...
Cigarette Juice Man wants to know how long it took you to grow that beard, Joe.
How long it took me to grow it? I don't know. I haven't trimmed it since like Christmas. I'll tell you that. But I'm actually gonna get it trimmed like tomorrow is my current plan. So
I trimmed my beard today, so we're like on the same beard cycle.
There you go. Okay. Disable HDCP. There we go.
I like this question because it seems rude, but it's a thing that'll save that guy's life, which is funny. It's just like, yeah, this guy didn't take this medicine because like he has this history, and it's like, so what's the next thing you do? And the right answer is give them that medicine. And it's like it seems hella rude, but it's one of those things where it's like, dude, shut up, you got to deal with this or you're gonna die. Like, but I don't want
makes
to
sense
explain
to
all the
me.
details. But it's just funny just to because it's literally the first answer is like.
Just make it take the goddamn medicine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's
Take
it's
the
fun.
medicine. Okay. Sorry for the delay. We're almost back up and running here. The PS4 and its HDCP nonsense is screwing everything up. Come
I'm back on that Super Metroid Zelda randomizer train.
How's that working out?
Oh, I don't know. I just fired up tonight, so.
You know, I was just looking at. There's 2 Contra randomizers that I've been thinking about giving a spin on the stream.
Like sometimes when you press the A button, you shoot instead of jumping, or what?
So one of them.
Probably enemy placement.
One of them is just Contra, and it changes like the levels and the power-up drops and some of the enemy placements. And the other one combines Contra and Super C.
Oh, that's kind of interesting. I don't know how much that would change your experience, but that's kind of a cool mashup.
Well, it also changes that other stuff. Right, so it's like
There's a Hollow Knight randomizer that just replaces every enemy in the game with any other enemy, including like some of the optional super bosses. Good times.
Yeah, I'm okay, thanks.
Huh. My arcade stick is not cooperating with my PlayStation. I don't know what the deal is. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Jeez. I have to plug a PS4 controller into my arcade stick to make it work.
It's like some kind of rock band thing.
I mean,
yeah, right.
Yeah,
You gotta hook
pretty
up the
much.
dongle and then sync to the dongle and then plug in the
Basically, the long and the short of it. You're basically using it as a pass-through like adapter. It's kind of annoying. Okay. So yeah, there's a little USB port right here on the back, and so plug that in. I plug the controller in. Set that there. This gives me flashbacks to playing the Wii.
Plugging stuff into other stuff.
Plugging controllers into other controllers to make them work. Come on. Really? Come on.
And 5 chests in this cave, and not a damn good thing between them.
There we go. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so what did I say? We're gonna start with Life Force, right? Been long enough since I've played this that I have to go into the old library to get to Life Force. There's Gradius. There's PT. Don't come and steal my PlayStation because it's apparently valuable because it has PT on it. All right, so
Can you re-download PT if it's on your account but not on your PlayStation?
no,
not anymore.
not anymore.
For a while you could.
But it's been like a year and a half or 2 years since that was even possible.
I never even owned a PS4, but when that game was going away, I added it to my PlayStation account through the online store, the internet store. But I don't think it'll ever do me any good.
Whenever it was, they like took it down, and then that was where you couldn't even download it anymore, even if you had previously owned it.
Yeah. So
I played it; it was cool.
let's take
Anyway.
a look at what we have here as compared to what we had a minute ago. So now we've got Salamander Original, that's the Japanese version, Life Force North American version, original, and Life Force Japanese version, because all three of these are like pretty different games. And on Salamander and the Japanese Life Force, we have a caravan mode and a high score mode, which is a one life thing.
Caravan mode?
Caravan is 2 or 5 minutes, and you get the highest score you can before the time is up.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna do that. But let's start with the game we were just playing, which is Life Force, and just take a look at some of the options here. So we get our controller layout, and if we, oops, don't want to do that. What button is it? Is it just start? No, it's not start.
Great Discman says, are beards worth the effort? I think that's a personal question, my man.
Yeah, I mean,
Also,
Only you
yes.
know.
only you can say for certain.
I mostly have a beard because my face breaks out really bad when I try and shave, so it's just easier to have one.
So it's negative effort in your case.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the answer to this question because I can't grow a beard.
Don't you have a beard, Mike?
You got like a goat.
Yeah, I got a goat. Some would argue that the goat is the goat, but I don't think that's true.
As the owner of a goat, I would have to say no.
Don't get me wrong, I like my goat, but
Beards are fine if you like them, and if you don't like them, then that's fine too. I had a really long crazy beard, and that kind of sucked because I got food and stuff stuck in it all the time, so I wouldn't recommend that, but...
So, yeah, that's a thing that sucks, is getting food stuck in it. All right, so here's our options menu in the full Arcade Archives version. So we go into display settings. There's a frame. We don't need that. We can reposition it. We can change the size of it like bit by bit, right? We can, if we really want to tinker with this, we can adjust the height and the width as we want, like to whatever fine point we would like to do. Orientation of the display. What's that for? Oh, weird. I can turn it to Tate. Not that I would for this game, but like the option is there. And there are vertically oriented games on the Switch collection, but you might have noticed there was no option to do this. I can turn this shit upside down if I feel like it. I can play upside down Life Force if I want to. Because I want to hang my monitor from the ceiling or something. I don't know, but like it's just like
that's some kind of sex thing.
Yes.
This is a family show.
This is no, it's not. And then scan lines. We are a lot more. We have more than just like some scan lines or a bunch of scan lines. Exactly. More options than just like some scan lines or a shitload of scan lines, which was the option in the Switch version. So we have all those options. Game settings. We have number of players and difficulty, but then we have number of credits used for remaining lives. We can turn on the demo loop sound on or off. So the attract mode, will it make noise or not? The coin slot number. We have audio settings. We can turn on reverb and because a lot of this stuff I think was because there's like a Yamaha synthesizer chip in here, so all of this stuff is sort of tweakable to how you think it should sound or how you want it to sound. Preference settings, improved game operation. So like, yeah, you can make it boot up the ROM as if it was an arcade game, and you get some scrambled junk. You can turn that on and off. You can turn on and off the slowdown. You can reproduce the original game's characteristic of enemy bullets penetrating the shield on even numbered hits. So there's a bug where the shield was weird. You can turn that on. reproduce the sound effect and BGM change that played when credits are entered into the original. So if you don't, so Mike was talking about this earlier. If you don't like that, you can turn it off.
Monster doesn't want to hear the credit sound.
Right. Stage 4, reproduce Center Core's attack. Reproduce the original game's behavior where the Stage 4 boss, Center Core, shoots out blue cores endlessly until certain requirements for the first player are met. Again, I'm pretty sure that was a bug. And so, like, again, this is just like you could do all this stuff, reproduce the original game specifications that alter the usual playback of sound depending on special conditions. And use the player 2 ship with player 1 controller. So you can change all this stuff. And, like, again, this is from the same... Like, if it's the Arcade Archives version that's on the Switch, it's the same as this. So why isn't all this stuff in there? Like, why they had to go to the work to strip this stuff out?
A little weird.
In order to, you know, make it work. It's bizarre to me. So now I have to get my arcade stick working again, which is a little bit wonky with this whole daisy chaining controllers thing that it makes you do. So give me a second while I do that. But, you know, you can sort of see... this is just... Because I'm going to be changing stuff and having to press the touchpad, I'm honestly just going to switch to the controller. This is too much of a hassle. I'm just going to use the controller. So, yeah, we'll go back to the game for a minute. But, you know, we've got this caravan mode, and that stuff I guess I can understand, like, you know, you're getting a bundle, again, it would be $64 to get all of these individually, and it's $20 to get the bundle, again, putting it on Switch. Now I have it portably, my PlayStation 4 games aren't portable. But still, this whole thing of, like, why strip all these existing features out? Especially the Tate mode. That's the thing that really gets me. Like, why would you take that out of the existing Arcade Archives version? That's just weird to me.
Wow, presumably because they didn't know about the flip grip and they didn't think anyone was going to want to turn their Switch sideways.
But then why put it in
Konami
all of the...
sucks.
Right, but then why would Hamster have put it in all the other versions?
I don't know, man.
You know. All right, so let's, just because we're looking at some of these differences here, let's check out Salamander.
Control setup looks as painful as trying to set up Intellivision or N64 emulation.
I wouldn't say that.
I set up N64 emulation in like 2001 or something, and it wasn't too bad.
Oops. Yeah, that'll do. We'll do that. So again, you know, you don't see a power-up button here because this is similar to the game we just played, in that there is no manual powering up.
Mordecai Wallfish wants to know if there's a way to get the Japanese version. It turns out there is. It's quite simple. You just go on the Japanese store. How did it work again, Joe?
If you have the Japanese eShop, if you buy the Konami arcade collection on the Japanese eShop, all the versions are the Japanese ROMs. But Japanese Life Force is actually not available at all because, I don't know, just because. Because they didn't want to put Japanese Life Force on any of these. So you get this version that I'm playing right now, but if you want Japanese Life Force, which I'll show off in just a second, you do not have that option as part of the collection. Which is annoying. And again, you know, I get that there's a price difference, but like, just stripping all that stuff out of there, it just seems really weird to me. You know, but that was at the price. I think honestly, enough of the games in that collection are good enough and it's nice again for me to have them portably. That I think it's still worth the $20, probably, but I still think it's bizarre that, you know, that they just took a bunch of stuff out of there. It would be really nice to be able to play Scramble and Ajax, you know, in Tate mode. And when the Contra collection comes out, it would be really nice to be able to play Arcade Contra in Tate mode, as much as it's ever nice to play Arcade Contra. I don't think Arcade Contra very much. But and I think I'm in the majority opinion on that, honestly.
Never heard anyone defend it.
So one person left a comment on, I don't remember, I think it was a live stream we did not that long ago, saying that they think Arcade Contra is better. And then they said that the reason that I didn't like it was because I was playing emulated versions. So then Eric and I played it in an arcade like a week and a half ago, and I still didn't like it. So I don't think it was the emulation.
Nope. It's just not that great of a game.
Like, it's fine. It's just the jumps are really floaty, and the controls just don't feel as tight as the NES version. Is basically the long and short of it. Because they ain't. So Golem felt easier, but I also just fought him twice, so I'm not sure if that's, you know. So now you'll see that I'm in a star field and not inside a weird alien monster, because that's how original Salamander was. Only the first stage basically had the like body horror aspect, and all the other stages were more like regular Gradius stages. So,
Seafoam Gaming says that they love the arcade Contra more than the NES Contra. I mean, you're allowed to like it more.
Yeah, I mean, you do you. I just think it's weird, honestly. I feel like NES Contra is just such a perfectly controlling, you know.
They also add Super C is super fun. I'll agree to that. I mean, Super C is the one that I played a bunch when I was young. My friend had that one. None of us had Contra, so I think Super C was a fine game.
I remember playing Super C with you at PAX one year, maybe the first year that I went, and you were a lot better at Super C than you were at regular Contra. I remember that.
Probably still am.
Which makes sense if that's the one you played a bunch when you were a kid.
I got to the point where I could finish Super C without continuing. I know that's not like an amazing feat or anything, but
probably some people would think it's pretty amazing. When I lose all my lives this time, we will check out the Japanese version of Life Force, and then we'll check out some Haunted Castle on the individual arcades, which I bought specifically to stream for Halloween last year. And if you want like a whole bunch of Haunted Castle, there's a stream in the archive somewhere. If you just go to the channel and search for Haunted Castle, I think it's the only video that's actually going to come up, so.
Eric Gerbeck says the Aliens arcade game is a better Contra game compared to the arcade Contra, honestly.
It's a beat 'em up though. Like, you have guns, kinda, but like it's much more of a beat 'em up than it is
Gun 'em up,
run and gun. Yeah.
Well, I think I'm gonna have to leave you guys to your arcade games and cracker eating, and administering too much medication to people.
Yes.
Playing video games now.
You shouldn't be administering medication while playing video games.
Definitely,
Alex.
definitely not, Alex.
That's the best time to do it.
All right. Well, in that case,
It's okay, you're
Mike.
playing Trauma Center.
Yeah.
There you go.
Safe.
Have a good evening, Mike.
Thanks,
I am not in a good position to watch the chat. Is somebody else, now that Mike is leaving? Can somebody else sort of keep an eye on the chat?
Web says, I love all things Contra except Legacy of War.
Legacy of War is bad.
Oh, and Contra Force, no bueno.
Contra Force isn't even a Contra game. That shit doesn't count. There's at least one game on the PlayStation, the PS1, that's like a pretty good Contra, but it's not. It's one of the games that is not actually a Contra. It's one, which is a single player affair, but it is very. It feels much more like a Contra.
Seafoam Gaming says, I so hope that Operation C or MXX, pardon me, MSX2 Contra is on the Contra collection. These are cool, obscure games. Maybe
I
Contra
think
Force or Hardcore too.
Well, I would say given that Bloodlines is on the Castlevania collection, I think it's not unreasonable to expect that Hardcore will be on the Contra collection. I'm expecting, so this is Japanese Life Force, and as you can see, this is the version that changes the power-up scheme to the Gradius power-up scheme, which makes it quite a bit different than the other two versions, which is why it's included on this collection, or on this download of. It also makes it a lot harder because you can't just like pick up one thing and be like, oh, I picked up this one icon and now I've got a laser. So it kind of messes with the difficulty, but I think a lot of people are kind of used to it because this was, yikes, this was the what the NES version was like, and the decor of the whole thing is much more like the American Life Force. So there's no space fields, it's all guts and everything. I'm gonna try that again because that was really pathetic. Anyway, yeah, but I think circle. Why is that circle? Okay, that explains why I wasn't having. There we go. Yeah, I don't know. I think by kind of showing us what is on the Castlevania collection, there's sort of this expectation now of what's going to be on the Contra collection, because if they had put, like Symphony of the Night or something on there, or Rebirth, then I would be like, oh, well, then maybe that means we're going to get Contra Rebirth, or maybe it means we're going to get one of the bad PS1 Contra games, but like they didn't do that, so I think we're going to stick with NES, 8-bit, 16-bit, Game Boy stuff like that. So I think Contra, the other Contra games are going to be Contra 1 for the NES, and both of the original Game Boy Contras, which is Operation C and the Factor 5 port of Alien Wars for the Game Boy, and then Hardcore. And I think that's what is going to fill those out. It could put Contra Force on there, I guess, but that game is trash. Although I guess they're putting Castlevania Adventure on the Castlevania collection, and that game is trash. So clearly that's not a concern. Although it is pretty cool that they actually translated Kid Dracula for the Famicom and are putting that on. That's pretty cool. That's nifty. But we'll see. I suspect we'll probably know sooner than later,
Fire! 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 Fire!
This game is chatty as hell, man.
Destroy eye of mutant.
They were like, we figured out how to make this game talk, and now it's never gonna shut the fuck up.
They got Joe Montana to commentate and everything.
So, again, my first run was kind of like bad, so I did not continue. But once I run out of lives on this one, we'll switch over to Haunted Castle. take a look at what we're missing on that side of things.
Enter Kidney Zone.
And so again, this is graphic differences from the other two versions here. This is what we're seeing is a lot different than those other two versions. And you know, it's a little bogus that
Kidney
this
Zone
is not
cannot be destroyed.
something that you have the option to play on the new collection.
They'll put it on a different collection.
Yeah, right? So the other thing Mike and I touched on a little bit, but they announced a bunch more games for the Genesis Classic today. The next 10 games for the Genesis Classic, yeah. So Japan is getting Musha, which I'm a little jealous of, because Musha's real good, and it's also like super rare and sort of like prohibitively expensive at this point, if you were to go searching for an original cartridge. But the US, I think, is getting the better deal so far, because Japan is getting a couple like sort of abstract like strategy games that I don't even know what they are, like they're Japanese only things, and the US is getting like Sonic 2, which the Japanese one doesn't have.
That's kind of crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, and Castle of Illusion, which the Japanese one doesn't have, and Earthworm Jim, because nobody in Japan gives a shit about Earthworm Jim. But that game's pretty good, as it turns out. So,
It's alright.
yeah, it's like, what is it? Earthworm Jim was one of the things. Contra Hardcore, I think, was.
Enter
Let's
Summon
see.
Inner Chamber.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can probably
Warning, danger zone.
pull up both versions of the list, actually.
Acid flame.
Eric Herbeck says, I think some high-up executive at Konami who hated Sega must have retired or something. All of a sudden they remember they made some Genesis games. Hopefully the Rocket Knight game gets a port at some point.
Yeah, it'd be really cool to see both of the Genesis Rocket Knight games.
Seafoam Gaming says the Kid Dracula ROM isn't new, it's a long-lost prototype. And also Earthworm Jim over Musha blows. I think that they should probably just include all of that stuff, but whatever.
Yeah, probably. Especially since Musha did get a US release, right? So, like, I don't know. But also, like, the thing is probably hackable. Like, none of these have come out yet that have been not hackable. So,
You just play all those games on your PC or the myriad other venues for emulation that exist.
I mean, you could, you know, that's certainly an option. But I think, you know, M2 makes very good quality stuff, so I think that there's, you know, value in that. And in having like a really high-end Genesis emulator in a little box, if you were to hack it.
Muckle zone.
Oh, that's crazy.
Although apparently Blastum is like the newest, hottest, latest Genesis emulator and is supposed to be very good. Runs it, but it's sort of like, it's called Blastum, but it's like Higen in that like it's like kind of a processor hog.
Oh.
All right.
You sure not talking about Blastum Bunnies, the PlayStation 4 game that came out in 2016?
Yes, I'm sure. I'm not. I'm
gonna say,
pretty
I
sure.
think he's-
Reasonably sure. All right, so this is Haunted Castle, and as we can see, once again, we've got 3 different versions of the game here. We've got the Japanese version, the North American version, and the European version, and we have high score modes and caravan modes. Once again, available here. So, we looked at the North American version a little bit. The actual version that I like the most is the European version because everything is, you know, in English, but it has the difficulty of the Japanese version. So, which is way more reasonable, as we discussed, than the US version. So, we'll check it out. But not before we fix some buttons. And once again, just as a matter of like, what kind of options do we have? We have a display for the frame. We can move the display. We can, once again, tweak the size of it, like, to an obscene degree. Pixel by pixel, really. Orientation of the display. If I want to play Tate Haunted Castle, I can do that. I wouldn't want to do that, but I can do it. Scanline type. So this one even goes like a little bit further than before. We have soft and sharp scan lines, and then we can manually set the thickness of them once we've turned them on. I leave them off because I think fake scan lines look like trash.
Yeah.
But, again, we have all this stuff. Game settings, difficulty, we can mess with that. Damage, we can mess with that, which is different from the European version to the English, to the US version. We can turn on and off the ability to continue. We can turn on a limit for continues, on and off. Again, we attract mode, sound. I don't know that we have. We don't have as many like really granular weird things as we do with the Life Force is sort of like Hamster's magnum opus is the Life Force Arcade Archives release, but we still have a lot more options here than we do in the collection. So I'm not going to play a bunch of this because even the easier European version is still, like, again, not that great of a game. If you want to see me play this a lot, like I said, there's a stream in the archive from last October where I played it for like an hour, so. But, again, whoever the decision makers are, like, they just decided that they were going to strip a bunch of stuff out of these existing Arcade Archives versions. And, again, I'm saying that for me, for the price, I still felt like it was worth it because now I can play Life Force, like on an airplane pretty easily on my Switch. But I think your mileage will vary, on whether you think that Switch collection is worth it. And if you're going to get $20 worth, I mean, $20 is also like kind of impulse buy price, right? It's not like a physical retail release at $40 or $60. It's a $20 download, which is like not super unreasonable. So, but I just kind of wanted to check it out and show the differences between, what is available in the existing versions and, kind of the difference between what you're getting if you buy the compilation. So.
See, Eric Gerbeck says, Musha is cool if I'd pick one Genesis Mega Drive shooter to port, it would be Glay Lancer.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
I'm trying to remember who developed that. I'm guessing that it was an issue. Well, I mean, it could still be coming, right? Like, we don't know for sure that we're not getting Glay Lancer. But I wouldn't bet on it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect Glay Lancer. Yeah, I don't know. Musha's probably my favorite Genesis shoot 'em up. Thunder Force 3 is up there, which is on the thing. Thunder Force 3 is on all the versions. Oh, Medusa. Thunder Force 3 is dope, and it's on all both versions, and, I don't know. I think the lineup of games looks pretty good in both cases. And I already pre-ordered mine because I'm interested to see what it can do, if it's hackable. I also kind of want to compare it to some other options for playing Genesis games and see kind of how M2's emulation holds up to real hardware. So I'm going to do a video about it when it comes out in September. So look forward to that. Get hyped. 4 months from now. I'm going to be telling you the straight dirt on the Genesis Mini. And like probably John Linneman will have beaten me to it by like a week and gone way more in depth than I will. But,
Did you say John Lennon?
No, John Linneman, the guy who does Digital Foundry.
Okay, John Lennon. That's cool.
John Lennon ain't beating me to anything at this point because he's fucking dead.
I'm familiar. Yeah, that's why I was
Yeah,
surprised.
we have to go for Paul McCartney's streams instead.
That's right.
And if you want to see some shooters, you can go check out Ringo's stream. He loves to play Apex Legends and PUBG and that shit. So.
Yeah. He owes his whole career to Ninja, apparently.
They're both legends. It's true.
That's
I was gonna say I saw that. Did you guys saw? I forget who it was, but somebody like said something about how Ninja was a legend and like
Time Magazine.
Time Magazine.
Yeah. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Nobody knew who that dude was a
He
year
made
ago.
gaming mainstream, Alex. He's the
No,
one
he
that
didn't.
he saved video games. You wouldn't be playing video games right now if it wasn't for Ninja.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. I forgot. You're right. You're totally right.
How long ago did Fortnite come out?
A year and
Hey,
change?
do you guys remember Fatality?
Yeah, I do actually vaguely recall that dude.
Yeah, that thing in Mortal Kombat where you like push their head. Yeah.
I believe you mean Fatal 1T.
Yeah. Or StarCraft in Korea, or fucking whatever.
Pac-Man Fever, like...
Games on the iPhone.
Do you guys remember how video games have literally been a thing since the 1970s? Like...
All of your parents have a fucking Pong machine in their garage. Probably your grandparents. Damn kids, get off my lawn. Ugh.
Get off my Pong.
Yeah.
Get it? Get it?
Ugh.
I find the whole thing... Oh, that water kills you. Why are there stairs that go down there if jumping...
Didn't somebody beat his like
Kills.
record for most concurrent viewers or something recently also? So it's
I
like
don't
he's
know.
not even the most popular streamer or whatever. I don't know. Anyways.
Was it PewDiePie? Tell me it wasn't PewDiePie.
I don't think he doesn't stream, does he?
I don't. Yeah, he does. I thought his
Man, I don't know.
his N-word slip up when he used the gamer word. 'Cause
Hey,
it's a
Joe,
gamer
did you
word.
have a heated
You haven't seen that, Alex?
A lot.
moment here in
You-
Haunted Castle when you get upset? It might help your
Yeah.
views.
Yeah. You didn't see that, Alex? That people, somebody
I probably
like
did, I
infamously justified him using the N-word by saying it's a gamer word.
You heard a great turn here. Eric Urbeck says, my only issue with the Genesis Mini is no 6-button controller option that I know of.
Yeah. I mean,
The original 6-button Genesis controller is one of the best controllers. I have all my old hardware, so I probably won't buy one. But if I was really interested, that would be a bummer. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, the big thing is going to be like, are there games that use it? Right.
Or can you just hook will it have options for different controllers possibly?
Right, that's the other thing. Like it's a USB, it's just a standard USB port on the front of the system, and like Retrobit has just like for $15 you can get a brand new, made from apparently the original molds, 6-button Genesis controller that's a USB controller. So like that probably works. But if there aren't games on it that require it, which I don't think I've seen any so far that do, then like whatever, you know. I mean, I like the 6-button too. Like I think the 6-button's more comfortable. But you know, I do occasionally use a 3-button controller. I don't hate the 3-button controller. Actually, depending on the game, I do sometimes prefer the 3-button because I have big hands, and so the 3-button is bigger than the 6-button, so I don't mind it. But I like the 6-button a lot.
You know what I'm way into? PlayStation 4 controllers and Xbox One controllers.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
like the PS4
A lot of
controller.
those, the old controllers are fine or whatever, but like they aren't ergonomically comfortable for me. But I think it's cool if people like them. Like I don't.
Yeah, I don't.
I just think that like with all of those things, it probably would have cost them next to nothing to just have some like Bluetooth options or USB options. Just plug whatever controllers you got on hand in there and
Right.
make them work. Would be nice.
Right. I don't know. A lot of new controllers don't have as much. I mean, the D-pad hit an all-time low with the 360 controller, I think. But
Pretty bad.
like even
The
the Switch.
Xbox One and PlayStation 4 D-pads are as good or better than any of your classic options. So
I'm not sure I'd go that far. Well, I can't speak to the Xbox One because I have very, very limited experience with Xbox One. I like the PS4 D-pad. I don't know that I would say it's as good as like a Saturn like a good Saturn controller that's not like totally worn out. Saturn D-pad is real good. But the Switch Pro controller, like I like this D-pad, but it has like sometimes it registers a diagonal when you're not trying to push a diagonal, which is not great. And you would think that would be a problem we'd solved by this point in time. But I mean, I think indie games have helped make D-pads, like make companies actually spend the time in making their D-pad not total shit. Because there's so many 2D indie games out there that require a decent D-pad. Because the Xbox 360 controller it really felt like they fucking phoned it in because they didn't think anybody would use it for anything besides like, you know, bring up your map or something, or, you know, like quick, like changing your gun on the fly kind of stuff, you know? But then, you know, like Shank came out and like Mark of the Ninja, and it's like, no, you want to have a good D-pad. Which is why I bought a fight pad for my 360, so I'd have like a usable D-pad. And that's also nice because it's a USB controller and it works on my PC, so if I want to use my Street Fighter 4 fight pad on my PC, I can do that. Although I guess now my fight stick works on my PC, so I usually would default to that, I guess, but whatever. I found it really, you know, I don't know if this person's watching or not, probably not, but someone commented on a video the other day about how they felt that using an Xbox controller and using the analog stick to play Street Fighter 2 was more true to the original Street Fighter 2
Some
experience.
people like that, and I don't understand.
I don't get it.
But, I mean, whatever, if it works for you.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I said. I was like, if it works for you, it works for you, but I don't know that you can lay a claim on authenticity, like, as your supporting
it's like a
argument.
little tiny joystick, Joe.
It is a little tiny joystick that has no gate and has analog sensitive. I can't. Like,
It's not
I
a little
can't.
tiny joystick.
Can't do it.
It's different. But yeah, I don't, whatever. If you like it, then that's great. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
and I mean, that's what I said. I mean, I responded. I was like, hey, man, like, you do you. Play your games how you want to play your games, but I don't know that I would rest that argument on authenticity, because I don't really. But, you know, whatever. If it works for you, do it. I mean, also, like, you know, there are people who are, like, pro fighting game players who use 4 buttons instead of a joystick or a D-pad, which I just think is totally bizarre, but obviously it works for them. And I've also never tried it, so maybe it would work for me. I don't know, but, like, putting 4 buttons under your 4 fingers on your left hand and using those as directionals just seems real weird to me.
You mean like using a mouse and keyboard? That's totally fucking
Kind
crazy.
of, but not really.
That's kind of exactly what you do, right?
It is, yeah.
WASD.
There are people who play, like, fighting games and stuff on a keyboard because it's, like, it's similar to, same idea as a
Our
hitbox.
good friend Morbid Coffee can speedrun Super Metroid on just a keyboard. Like, he can beat it in, like, sub 50 minutes or something crazy like that.
That's
Yeah. Let's see here.
But I think moving in 3-dimensional space with WASD when I'm looking with the mouse is different than like trying to play Street Fighter with 4 buttons. Also, the WASD keys are laid out like arrows that point in different directions, and people who use hitboxes, like, they're not laid out. I don't even know which button does which direction, honestly, when I look at a
So
hitbox.
it's like left, down, right are on your ring, middle, and index, and your thumb is up. Which is weird because your thumb, it's laid out so your thumb is like at the bottom, but it makes sense because it's like, yeah, it just makes more sense that way. It's weird. I don't know. It's like it makes certain things, you gotta practice it. Like it makes certain things easier, but other things like way more difficult. So I don't know.
So you've tried this, Alex? You've
Yeah,
dipped
my
a
buddy
toe
Paul
in?
has one, and like it's like it's to double dash, like to dash. You just go like, right? It's like hella
Right.
easy. But like for others, and then for doing like a 360, it's that's it. Like
Right.
4 buttons. You're like, okay, cool. So certain things are you can do like a standing 360 like immediately, but there's a difference between just doing it, like just sitting there and like, oh, I'm in practice mode and I'm just gonna do it as this
Right,
thing.
and doing
versus
it
like
in a
being
fight.
in a real
Yeah.
match situation, it's like just overall way more button presses, and I've been using either an arcade stick or a pad forever. So it's like, why would I do that? Like, I don't know. I don't get it, but I mean, I get it, but it's not for me for sure. But I don't know.
So, I forgot this. In the arcade version of Castlevania, the stopwatch works on bosses, which in the NES versions it doesn't. You can't just freeze a boss and whip
works
it.
on, like the first boss.
Yeah, right. It works on the giant vampire bat, but
Yeah.
after that it doesn't work anymore. And I just killed a boss with the stopwatch and was just like, no, just stand there and get whipped in the face. So that was fun. Yeah, I don't know. The hitbox thing is weird. I mean, again, I like people who play at high levels can make all kinds of things work. Like a few years ago,
Yeah.
someone won. I don't
Goofy
remember what
won Evo
game.
in 2015 with a PlayStation
With a
1
PS1
pad.
controller. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. That was a good set too.
And that, like playing fight. I mean, I used to play fighting games with that controller, and it rubbed your thumb raw, man. I always thought. The D-pads
Yeah,
on
he's been
modern
using
PlayStation
the same
controllers.
one for like ever, which is
Oh,
crazy
wow,
too.
okay.
Because I don't know how he hasn't worn that thing out, but I guess
Maybe he has, and he replaced the. He like opened
Maybe,
it up
I don't
and
know.
replaced the
I don't know.
whatever, the contacts or whatever. All right. Well, I've been at this for almost 2 hours, so I think I'm gonna call it an evening. But everybody who came and hung out, thanks for hanging out, and Mike, Alex, and Eric, thanks for chatting with me and watching the chat and talking about hitboxes and shit. And yeah, I don't know, if we don't talk to you fine folks before Wednesday, we'll be back on Wednesday with whatever Genesis games and On the Stick After Dark and all that good shit. So
We'll see if
See you then.
Gala Maker or whatever it was called, if that Genesis is or Genesis isn't,
sure, whatever.
or something else. I don't know. Glay, what was it? I don't.
Glay
something.
Lancer.
Yeah, that one.